People always talk about the moment they realize their marriage is slipping, but for me, it wasn't a moment at all. It was a pattern, a slow, steady erosion I kept pretending wasn't happening. I'd watch Sierra drift further from me every month, slipping in her phone during dinner, texting late at night, leaving earlier for work, coming home later. She'd brush past me with a quick, "I'm tired," but the scent of unfamiliar cologne on her hair told a different story. And still I tried. Try to keep our routine steady. Coffee ready at 7, gym before work, dinner together at least 4 nights a week, movie nights on Fridays. I clung to normality, while she seemed eager to escape it. The first real crack came one ordinary Thursday. Sierra forgot to log out of her tablet before rushing to a team meeting. I wasn't snooping. I opened it because it buzzed nonstop. The screen lit up with a name I didn't recognize. Landon. His message read, "I missed last night. Same place tomorrow." I remember how my hands trembled. Not from rage, but from clarity. The kind you feel when a truth finally stops hiding. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Confronting a liar when you have partial truth only gives them space to twist it, rewrite it, flip it. So instead, I stepped back and watched her life like a movie I'd already seen, waiting for the scenes to line up. Our routines changed because she changed them. Suddenly she needed more space, more personal time, more work dinners. She'd sigh dramatically when I asked simple questions, acting like I was too clingy, too boring, too predictable. The irony? Those were the qualities she once said she loved. But the strangest shift came when she started treating me like I was an inconvenience. She'd interrupt me mid-sentence, correct me in front of her coworkers, and once, at a neighbor's barbecue, she rolled her eyes when I offered her a plate of food. That one stung more than the text messages. It wasn't just infidelity. It was disrespect disguised as personality change. That's when I started planning. Not revenge, not yet. I wanted truth. I want a whole picture. I reached out to someone I never thought I'd speak to. Talia, one of Sierra's coworkers. She and I had always been polite acquaintances, nothing more than small talk during office events. But one thing about Talia stood out. She noticed everything. Quiet people usually do. So I invited her for coffee, claiming I wanted help planning a surprise for Sierra. It was the only excuse that wouldn't raise suspicion. At first, she was guarded. Polite smile, crossed arms, giving me short, careful answers. But when I mentioned Landon, just the name, her expression dropped like a glass slipping off a table. She pressed her lips together and looked away, her fingers drumming anxiously on the counter. "Why are you asking me that?" she whispered. "Because," I said softly, "I think something's going on with my wife. And I think you know more than you want to admit." That's when she exhaled, long, shaky, and the floodgates quietly opened. Talia didn't tell me everything that day, just enough to confirm I wasn't imagining things. Enough to confirm Sierra wasn't just drifting away. She was actively choosing someone else. But there was something else in Talia's eyes, a secret she hadn't decided whether to reveal. Something heavier, something that would matter later. And so began to shift inside me. Not anger, not heartbreak, strategy. If Sierra wanted to play with public humiliation, disrespect, deception, I wouldn't fight her in private. I would let her walk right into the moment where the entire truth would take the stage for her. I just needed the perfect setting, the perfect tone, the perfect audience. Her own birthday dinner idea, ironically, gave me exactly that. She thought she'd own the room. She had no idea it would be her undoing. The night of Sierra's birthday dinner arrived faster than I expected, but by then, I was ready, steady in a way I hadn't felt in months. There's a strange calm that comes when you stop guessing, stop questioning, and finally accept the truth. The person you loved has already left you long before you ever leave them. I didn't tell Sierra I had invited a few extra people. I didn't tell her I knew about her long work meetings. I didn't tell her I had anything planned at all. She thought this dinner was just another excuse for her to show off her new confidence, her new circle, her new energy that seemed powered by attention she received outside our marriage. That was fine. Let her step into the spotlight, because she had no idea what was waiting at the center of it. The restaurant she chose was upscale, a place she insisted made the right impression. She arrived dressed like she was attending a red carpet event, not a dinner. Tight curls, glossy lipstick, a fitted black dress that shimmered under the chandeliers. and the moment she walked in, she angled herself so everyone saw her first, as if the rest of us were props in her story. "Calvin, you're early," she said, surprised I was already seated. "I wanted everything to be perfect for tonight," I replied, keeping my tone gentle, controlled. She didn't know that perfect meant something different for me than it did for her. One by one, her coworkers trickled in, loud and full of that showy office friend energy she adored. Then came Talia, calm and observant as always. She walked in without looking at Sierra first. Her eyes went straight to me. A subtle nod passed between us. Nothing more. Just enough. Then, right on cue, the last person arrived, Landon Reeves. He appeared at the door, scanning the room with the confidence of a man who believed he was a secret worth keeping. Sierra's lips parted slightly when she saw him, just for a split second, but enough for me to catch the flicker of panic she tried to hide. He wasn't supposed to be invited. He wasn't supposed to show up anywhere near our marriage. Her eyes shot toward me, searching for answers. "I thought you'd appreciate your whole team being here," I said with a polite smile. "You're always talking about how close you all are." She forced a laugh, the kind people use when the joke feels like a trap. Dinner started normally, or rather, normal for Sierra. She steered every conversation back to herself, bragging about work praise that didn't exist, retelling stories where she was always the hero, slipping in little jabs at me disguised as playfulness. "Calvin takes forever to decide anything," she said while the table chuckled. "He's just too predictable," another coworker teased. "He means well," she added with a sweet but condescending smile. "But sometimes I feel like I'm dragging him through life." It was meant to sound cute, but it landed like a blade. I watched her revel in the attention, unaware that each comment she made only layered more justification for what I was about to do. Halfway through dinner, Sierra's favorite coworker, Melanie, loud and overly confident, asked the question I knew was coming. "So, Sierra, tell us what's next for you two." She smirked. "Planning anything exciting? A trip? A big change?" Sierra laughed, leaning back in her chair. "A big change. Probably. Honestly, he's lucky I haven't moved on already." The whole table erupted with shocked laughter. But the loudest reaction came not from me, not from the coworkers, but from Talia. She stiffened. Her hand tightened around her glass. She wasn't shocked. She was angry. Before anyone could settle from Sierra's joke, Melanie raised her own glass toward Sierra and blurted, "Cheers to that. You deserve someone who keeps you entertained." Landon looked up sharply. His eyes darted between Sierra and me. His jaw tightened. He didn't expect his presence to be weaponized like this. Sierra's smile faltered. Just a little. But I didn't speak. Not yet. Not until everyone's attention was perfectly aligned. I pushed my chair back slowly, letting the scraping sound cut through the noise. The table quieted. "Sierra," I said softly, almost kindly, "you're right. You really have been considering other options." She blinked, unsure if this was part of her little performance. "So," I continued, reaching into my coat, "I thought it's time we stopped pretending." I placed a crisp white envelope on the table. The weight of the air changed instantly. Conversation froze, forks paused midair, glances shot across the table like sparks. "What's that?" Sierra asked, her voice suddenly thin. "Something you've been working toward for months," I replied. "You just didn't know I noticed." She swallowed hard, glancing at Landon, then at Talia, who sat still as stone. "You're scaring me," Sierra whispered, her confidence cracking. "No," I said gently. "I'm finally giving you what you've already chosen." Her hand trembled as she reached for the envelope, but I placed my palm on top of it, stopping her. "This isn't just about the messages, or the nights you lied, or the times you let someone else treat you like theirs." Her breath caught. "This is about respect, Sierra. And tonight, you lost the last bit of it." The table was silent. No laughter, no jokes, just the truth sitting between us like a spotlight she could no longer escape. Sierra stared at the envelope like it was a live wire. Her fingers hovered, shaking, the confidence she wore so easily now slipping off her like loose fabric. The restaurant around us faded. Voices softened. Forks stopped clinking. Even the background music felt distant. Everyone at the table sensed something was unfolding that wasn't meant for casual eyes. She finally lifted the envelope, hesitating before pulling out the stack of papers inside. Her eyes scanned the first page, and I watched the color drain from her face. "Calvin, what is this?" she breathed. "Clarity," I said. "Something you've been avoiding for months." Her coworker Melanie leaned forward, curiosity overpowering good manners. "Is that—" "Don't," Sierra snapped, clutching the papers closer. Her voice broke on the last word. Across the table, Landon stiffened. He wasn't smiling now. He wasn't even breathing normally. He knew exactly what those papers meant. He probably never thought I'd find out, and definitely never thought he'd be part of the reveal. I kept my tone even, steady, because the revenge I wanted wasn't explosive or loud. It was precise, controlled, and undeniable. You know, I began, keeping my eyes on Sierra. I spent months wondering what changed between us, wondering why you stopped talking to me at night, why you flinched when I touched you, why you suddenly needed to work late 3 times a week. Sierra shook her head. "Calvin, it's not what you think. Those messages." "What messages?" someone whispered, shocked. I continued as if she hadn't spoken. I blamed myself for a long time. I thought maybe I wasn't enough. Maybe I got too comfortable. Maybe I didn't chase you the way I used to. She looked up at me then, eyes glossy, desperate. "Calvin, please." But then, I said, I realized something. I wasn't the one who changed. I leaned forward slightly. "You did." Her throat moved as she swallowed. "I can explain." "Explain what?" My voice wasn't raised, but it cut sharper than anything else in the room. "The dinner you told me was a team celebration that ended across town. The hotel charge on your card at 1 a.m. The messages you forgot to delete." She pressed the papers against her chest, as if hiding them would erase the truth. Then, for the first time that evening, Talia spoke. "Sierra," she said quietly, "just stop." Sierra's head snapped toward her. "You knew." Talia nodded, her expression pained. "I tried to stay out of it, but it wasn't right. Calvin didn't deserve any of this." Sierra looked betrayed. "So you told him?" "Talia didn't tell me everything," I said quickly, not wanting her to take the blame. "I already knew most of it, but she confirmed enough." Landon finally spoke, voice tense. "Calvin, listen, whatever you think happened." "What I think?" I gave a humorless laugh. "Landon, I don't think anything." "I know." He went silent. Everyone went silent. Sierra tried again, voice cracking. "Calvin, please, this isn't the place." "That's the thing," I replied softly. "You made everything public. The jokes at my expense. The little humiliations. The nights you played the perfect wife in front of your coworkers while treating me like an afterthought at home. So yes, Sierra, right here is exactly the place." She flinched. I looked down at the envelope. "You haven't finished reading." Her fingers trembled as she skimmed the rest of the papers. Her breath hitched when she reached the last page. You're ending this?" she whispered, voice so small it almost disappeared. I met her eyes. "You already did. I'm just signing where you left off." Sierra's chin quivered. "Calvin, I made mistakes, but I can fix this. I can fix us. We can figure it out." For a moment, a single, fragile moment, I saw the woman I married. The one who used to laugh at my terrible jokes, who used to fall asleep on my chest, who used to whisper dreams we planned to chase together. But the version of her sitting in front of me now wasn't that woman, and I couldn't pretend anymore. "It's not about one mistake," I said. "It's about the person you chose to become." A tear finally escaped her eye. She didn't wipe it. The table was frozen. Every coworker realizing the woman they admired at the office wasn't at all who she pretended to be. Melanie looked away, embarrassed. Someone whispered, "I didn't know." Then Sierra did something she'd never done before, something that made the room tighten even further. She reached for my hand. "Calvin, I'm begging you, please don't do this." Her touch felt unfamiliar. It didn't carry love. It carried fear. "You wanted freedom," I said quietly. "I'm giving it to you." She shook her head desperately. "Not like this. Not in front of them." "You weren't worried about how I felt when you laughed at me in front of them," I replied. Her lip trembled. The power dynamic reversed so smoothly, so silently, it shocked even me. The woman who once held control with ease was now unraveling at the edges, because she realized I hadn't come to fight. I commanded, and nothing terrifies a manipulator more than someone who stops reacting. Before she could speak again, before Landon could step in, before the colleagues could pretend not to stare, Talia's voice cut through the tension once more. "Calvin," she said softly, You don't owe anyone here anything. Not even her. I nodded. But it wasn't over. Not yet. Because the real truth, the deeper reveal, still hadn't surfaced. And when it did, the entire table would understand why Sierra's betrayal wasn't the only one that had been unfolding. The table felt like a pressure chamber. Every person holding their breath, waiting for something they couldn't name, but could sense was coming. Sierra sat frozen, clutching the papers as if they were burning her hands. Landon's jaw was tight, his eyes locked on the tablecloth. No one moved. But the room's tension didn't come from the divorce papers. It came from the truth still sitting in my chest, waiting, because while Sierra had betrayed me, someone else had unexpectedly stepped into a very different role. I leaned back slowly, giving Sierra space she didn't deserve but needed. There's something you should know before any of us walk out of this room, I said. Sierra shook her head weakly. Calvin, please. I can't take more of this. You should hear it anyway. My voice wasn't angry. That was what scared her most. Everyone's eyes shifted to Talia, because they sensed something unspoken sat between us. Even Sierra noticed the subtle protectiveness in the way Talia watched me, the way she didn't look away from the pain in the room. Talia didn't just confirm what you were doing, I said quietly. She showed me who you were when you thought no one was watching. The comments, the complaints, the way you talked about our marriage like it was a burden you were too good for. Sierra's breath caught. She told you everything. Not everything, Talia said, sitting straighter. Just the truth you refused to face. Sierra's eyes flashed with something. Anger, humiliation, fear. Why would you do that to me? I trusted you. No, Talia corrected gently. You used me. You bragged to me. You put me in the middle of something I wanted no part of. And you never trusted me. You just assumed I'd protect you. The table tightened again. I continued, and she wasn't going to get involved until she realized something. Sierra looked between us, panic rising. Realized what? That you weren't just careless with our marriage, I said. You were careless with her reputation, too. You used her as an excuse, as a cover. You told people she was chasing me. You made jokes about her wanting my attention. You made her look like the problem. The shock on Sierra's face said everything. She hadn't expected that part to surface. Melanie whispered, Sierra, you said that. Sierra's voice cracked. I didn't mean, but Talia cut in, calm but firm. You meant enough to say it. Pain flickered across Sierra's expression. She finally realized she had cornered herself, brought her own undoing to a table filled with witnesses. I stood slowly, pulling my coat from the back of the chair. Sierra, I'm not ending this to punish you. I'm ending it because I deserve better than someone who treats loyalty like a disposable option. She reached for me again, desperation raw on her face. Calvin, please, we can fix this. I'll change. I'll do anything. I stepped back gently. If you wanted to fix it, you wouldn't have broken it. Her face crumpled, tears spilling freely now. For the first time, she wasn't performing. She wasn't seeking attention. She was simply realizing she lost the one person who never tried to replace her. I turned to leave, but stopped long enough to say something I knew she needed to hear. I'm not walking away because of Landon. I'm walking away because of the version of yourself you became to impress him. Landon looked down, ashamed. Sierra let out a shaky sob. Before I reached the exit, Talia stood and followed, placing a respectful space between us, but making it clear she wasn't sitting at that table any longer. You don't owe her your silence, she said softly when we stepped outside, or your misery. I know, I replied. For the first time in months, the night air felt light. Sierra lost me that night. I didn't lose anything, because sometimes the strongest revenge isn't dramatic or loud. It's simply walking away with your dignity intact, while the person who tried to break you watches you leave.